Hey guys, how's it going? So, Aria was just shown off, and she seems like a pretty interesting character. So, I know a lot of people look at her and, they're maybe interested in her design slightly. She's got a couple of interesting things about her, for sure. But other than that, once we get past that, let's take a look at her skill set. So, my first impression would be that she seems pretty cool, and I'm actually kind of interested in this character. Uh, Her stat line is the exact same as Dizzy, and she gets this extra crit chance from her passive. It actually goes up to 45% base, which is really, really nice for a character. Just that's so much free crit that it becomes really, really easy to build characters. She has great base speed, great base defense. Attack is relatively low overall. Health is okay for a mage. Mages generally have really low health, so that's actually all right. Effectiveness and effect resist, it depends on how you want to build this character, and there might be a few ways. I'm actually really interested in trying a bunch of different stuff with her. And she has imprints of both defense. She's a defense scaling unit, so that actually ends up being pretty decent. So I think her stat line's actually overall pretty good. So first, we have her passive. This ability is pretty good overall, I would say. So she gets 30% crit chance when you max this ability. As her health decreases, crit damage increases up to a maximum of 50%. Usually most skills that work like this, where something increases as their health decreases, it's usually every 25% exactly. I don't know if this is going to be like a third of 50% when she's at 75%, and then 50% she would be at like 25% or something like this. I'm not sure if that's how they're going to do it, but we'll have to see. After using a skill, when the focus is full, consumes all focus to activate Dark Shadow Phantom, which is her S3. Attacks all enemies, dispelling 2 buffs and decreasing combat readiness by 30%. Damage dealt increasing proportional defense because she's a defense scaling unit. The animation's actually really good. I don't know why this video is so low quality, but really, really cool animation it's basically her S3 animation, because her S3 doesn't actually have too much of an animation overall. So the Umbral Hour, this is where the character becomes really, really interesting. So she gets increased defense for herself and counterattack for 2 turns. And then she gives stealth and barrier to the entire rest of the team. It's like a reverse Payra, basically. And the barrier is proportional to her defense. So it makes it so that she gets 3 focus from this, and if she counterattacks 2 times, then she gets to use that big explosion bird attack. So it's not actually that difficult to use at all, really. I think that it might mean you want to use her kind of fast, or possibly in a slower, tankier team. So she protects the team a lot. They can only attack her. They're not able to attack the rest of the team. And even if they do AoE, not only is she going to counterattack, but stealth units take half damage from AoE. So it's hard for them to even break the barrier to unstealth them. They have to hit them with a lot of AoE or strip the buffs. So immediately this brings to mind, what is she weak against? She's really bad against Rimuru. She's a defense scaling unit, so he does a lot of damage to her. And he steals counterattack and defense buff for his entire team, which is a pretty huge deal. She's really bad versus that. She's terrible versus characters like Payra, who put unbuffable on your entire team. She's really bad versus Angel of Light, unbuffable and silence, etc. So one of the big problems is that she's bad against a lot of popular units right now. There's a lot of units in the current meta that apply unbuffable or heavy debuffs to the team, and then Rimuru is picked all the time as well. So she has some flaws with that, definite weaknesses, but if you can get past those weaknesses, this seems insanely strong that they can only hit her, and that she's constantly counterattacking. And her S1 is actually a pretty decent ability overall. When you max it, it's a 50% chance to decrease hit chance for 1 turn, proportional to the defense for damage. Soulburn to get an extra turn, kind of nice. Hitting 2 people is, that's pretty great actually. Like, it may not hit insanely hard, but if you're hitting 2 people every time, I mean, you technically double the damage, and this actually pairs incredibly well with her artifact. If she attacks when it's not her turn, dealing up to, at max, 16% damage increase, and has a 50% chance to put a random debuff for 1 turn. And they're really good debuffs. Decreased defense, decreased speed, silence, unable to be buffed. These are all really, really powerful debuffs. There's no wasted bad debuffs that you're getting that you feel like, oh man, I didn't get anything. It feels like no matter what, you get something decent, and she's doing extra damage. So it makes her counters kind of scary if you're constantly doing that. I also think that she could work really well on Fairy Tale for a Nightmare, Fairy Tale Tenebra's artifact, because that would make it so you're stripping buffs off of them every time, and you're also doing extra damage. I think up to 1,500 extra damage per hit. So that's 3,000 extra damage every time she counters, is just as extra damage. I think that's really powerful. So now, one of the big things about her is her skill set seems nice on paper. In practice, it might be difficult to execute with all these characters putting unbuffable or, reamer, or just disabling the unit. But it's possible maybe you don't even build her as a damage dealer, and you instead build her as just a full-on tank with a bunch of effect resist. That makes it so they can't really strip her buffs that easily. She's just a huge tank. She's protecting the team, like the entire team. As long as you can get rid of your opponent having debuffs like unbuffable, then and able to strip your buffs, then she would be an insanely good tank. Like, you don't really need an Aureus if she's just soaking all of the damage as a full tank. In fact, you could even use someone like Troublemaker Crozet and have her behind him, and she makes him invisible, and they can only attack her, and he'll be counterattacking, and she's also counterattacking. That's really strong. Now, she's probably also not very good versus Rowana, and she's probably not very good versus Emilsermia because she activates her so easily. Although Emilsermia's AoE will be mitigated a lot because all your team is invisible pretty much, and they have the barriers. So she'll do a lot less damage, but still I would say not very good versus that unit. So it seems like she has very much strong weaknesses, but I think it might be possible to use her. And in this next RTA season, she actually has an even easier time of being used because we were going to get double pre-bans. And double pre-bans are probably going to be openers like Angel of Light, Peyra, characters like that non-stop. So I'd expect it to be a lot easier to use her. I think in stuff like Guild War, maybe Arena, but probably Guild War, I think she's going to have a lot of use. So she seems really strong, being able to stealth your team and just have them constantly hit her. They have no choice. So I see her being pretty nice versus AI. I think all in all, very interesting skill set, just seems very fun to utilize, and I'm actually very excited to try her out. She looks like she might have multiple builds. I think you could use her in bruiser teams, tank teams, hell, maybe even a cleave team, where your other 3 units are all the damage, and then she goes right after and protects them, and then the opponent with the scraps of their team left can't beat her. I'm really, really interested in this. I think it depends on how much damage she does for how you'll build her, because if she doesn't really do that much damage, you might just want to go full tank on the Fairy Tale Tenebria artifact, where she'll get most of her damage from that, but mostly just be a deterrent for the opponent to be able to attack her. I think she's kind of similar to ML Celine in some ways as well, where if you get them to work, they feel unbeatable. But if you don't have a team that can really support them and you don't ban out the right units, then they feel kind of useless and get killed really easily. So let's hope that she's actually a fun and interesting unit, and I'll definitely be pulling her and trying her out the moment that she comes out. I hope she's not too strong though, because a lot of players need to get the triple banner that will be coming out in approximately less than a month, I think. And you're not going to be able to choose her on it, so she's not very new player friendly, and if she's really strong, some of them might want to pull on her and it'll make them a little bit torn. But yeah, I'm actually really excited for this unit, and I can't wait to try her out. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.